In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the dimensioning options in BluePrint PCB. One thing you'll notice is we do have a palette dedicated to dimensions, and that includes things like GD&T, which we will talk about here at the end of this presentation. Also, under the draw ribbon, you'll see some dimensions up here, and I tend to use these the most. Autodim, probably the easiest to use. You just pull a dimension off, and that can be a diameter, it can be a cutout, it could be the board edge for that matter. It's just basically you pull the dimension off. All of the dimensioning has options along with it. If we were to go to home options and dimensioning, you would start to get an idea of some of the dimensioning options that we do have. And one thing I will say in here is it's broken down by dimension type. So you can have different dimensions, for instance, for diameters or radians or regular English or metric units. So there's a lot of options in here. Where they're placed, how they're placed, do you add tolerancing info, do you show your units, do you suppress zeros, which units are you using? You're using your defaults or you're using some other dimensions. What do the lines look like? When you place the lines, what's our highlight color for floating dimensions? And we'll see that in just a second. Terminators, what do they look like? Dual dimensioning is an option, as well as cross-point dimensioning. Okay. So all of those are available in our options dialog. That means that everybody will be doing everything the same way. Or even if I go out to an individual dimension, I still have those same options. So in this case, I did the Autodim there, and I'm probably just going to get rid of that terminator on the left side, just so it looks a little cleaner, more like what we're used to. Okay. We also have point-to-point dimensioning. Again, I will go to the draw ribbon for this and say add horizontal, and I'll go in here and you'll see the little snap symbol that it's snapping to the center. And I'll grab something else and I'll just pull that dimension off. And there's vertical, lined, angular, and arcs in there. We also have datum dimensioning, which is probably what most of you will use. You can come down here and put a datum down. And then you can start adding dimensions based off of that datum. So if I go in here and put one there, maybe one there, let's hang one so we see the orange, and then we'll finish it over here. I can align these. There's also an auto align option that'll align them as you place them. And we do have push and shove. So if you need to move something, you can. And then of course you could align it after the fact. And then if you need to grab something and find where that was supposed to be snapped, you can do that as well. And then again, as I mentioned, we'll go ahead and align those. Okay. If I want to switch and start adding vertical dimensions now, I just add that particular datum. And if I do need to flip these, you'll notice they're going the other side here because I was just doing that. If I hit the control key on the keyboard, they flip over to the other side of the board. So it's up to you. And then it's the same idea here. Start adding these dimensions, snap to something else. If I now wanted to switch back to the horizontal ones, I would need to activate it, and you'll see it turn red there. Okay. So those are more of the standard dimensioning options in BluePrint. We've also got things like diameter, where you can just come in and snap to something and get the diameter. Or we can even do that as a radius if we wanted to. Same idea, just grab that and move this back and get that snapped. There we go. Okay. And then we can also do things like chamfers. Just basically grab that, put it down, pick it back up, and just point right to where you want your chamfer information to be. And as you can see, there's a few more in here, but those are the kind of the standard ones that we use. Now, one of the things we also offer is GD&T, which is a format that's used by medical and defense industry quite a bit, where you put down this feature control frame, and then you can add these specialized symbols that are specific to that. And you'll see a whole list of them here, which we've, basically took the ANSI spec and incorporated that into our tool. There's actually a ratio that has to be maintained between that little piece of information in there and the size of the box. And you can add items to your particular feature control frame. You can insert, other boxes, that sort of thing, delete them. Doesn't have to be a composite frame. It can be any shape, a rectangular type shape that you want there. That's the bulk of the dimensioning options, but I do want to show you something we do specifically for panel DIMMs. So in this case, I'm working my assembly panel drawing. I've placed a couple of mill tabs, and I've placed them so that they are joined together, so they move in conjunction with each other. You'll see that right here. But I can also take that a little bit further. I can add a dimension on those. I'm going to activate my dimension down here. And now I'm going to place a vertical dimension, or a vertical coordinate. And I'm going to place that vertical coordinate right in the center there of my mill tab. Now let's just say I wanted that to be exactly 2 inches. Well, here's another trick that you can do with BluePrint and dimensioning. I can just go in there and type in 2, and it'll actually move them both to the 2-inch datum. So that's one option that you can use. Another option would be to have it automatically add up the number of tooling holes or fiducials as you're placing those. I can drop down a pinning hole dimension. I'm just going to pull this off a little bit, and then just bring this down. And not only did it put the diameter in there, any tolerancing info, but how many of them there are as well. Mill tab detail, as you can see, is already dimensioned over here. So this is really an easy way to create an assembly panel drawing, and we do have a lot of tools in here that really help you in creating that drawing without having to go through something like a CAM tool like CAM 350. But these are the dimensioning options that we do have in BluePrint. By no means is that all of them. As you can see, we have quite a few in the dimensioning palette as well as on the draw ribbon.